Hello, true believers, and welcome to another episode of Marvel Draw right here on Marvel HQ. I am your host, Brian Crosby, and as you probably guessed, that's right, we're going to be drawing Bruce Banner himself, the Incredible Hulk. So let me walk you through the tools I'm going to be using. I've got a blank sheet of paper. It can be any kind of paper that you have around the house. I'm going to be using a blue colored pencil for my underdrawing. I have a size B pencil that I'm going to use for the details and some of the line work on our Incredible Hulk here. And then I have a 6B that I'm going to use for some of the outlines and some of the larger shaded areas. But as always, you can use whatever it is that you have around the house. You can use colored pencils, markers, crayons, extra pencils, paint, whatever it is that you guys have. The point is to have fun, keep drawing, and maybe learn something new that will help you out in your drawings, okay? So with that, let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm taking my blue colored pencil. And if you've seen me do any of these drawings before, you know that whenever I draw a human character, I like to start off with a circle. So we're gonna have the Hulk kind of looking out this direction here. So I'm not gonna do my center line down the middle like I normally would. It's gonna be kind of off to the side, just like that. The next thing I do is I'm gonna draw the chin. So for the Hulk, I'm gonna have him kind of screaming, roaring, looking out this way. So I'm gonna make his jaw slightly open. So I angle back a little bit, and then I swing down to create that bottom side of his jaw, and then the chin line, just like that. And then I come down from the circle, okay? So if you see me draw other characters like Spider-Man, you know I like to do the jaw a little thinner, or Captain America, it's a little more straight on. For the Hulk, I like to exaggerate just a bit. And again, this is just the way I do it. Feel free to experiment and try whatever works best for you. Lots of artists draw this guy in different ways. Okay, so now we're gonna take that center line. I'm gonna go all the way down to the chin. All right, so the eye line, normally I go right across the middle, but I'm gonna have it just up just a bit because like I said, his mouth is open there. So I'm gonna have it be up just a little higher than normal. But see, it still kind of curves back around that sphere. Now for his ear, so his ear is going to sit, kind of reach up to that eye line and then do a backward C that connects to the jaw, the back of the jaw. Now let's go ahead and sketch in where that mouth is gonna be. So again, I'm gonna have his mouth kind of open. Okay, you can already see that face structure starting to come together. If I'm ever going too fast for you guys, go ahead and pause the video, get caught up, do what you gotta do, and then you can come back and revisit it, okay? Now we're gonna do that brow line. So I like to draw the Hulk with a kind of a heavy brow. Not quite as heavy as say like the Thing from the Fantastic Four, but still, you know, I like to draw him with a bit of a brow. So we're gonna shoot out from the center line. Again, his eyebrows are gonna be angled down, so he's nice and angry here. So a heavy brow line, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And I'm gonna fill. You don't have to do this part, but this is just to show you the shape that I'm creating here. And he's got a bit of a cheekbone over here on the right side that connects down to the right. Now we're gonna mark off where his nose is gonna be. So I'm gonna put it up a little higher. It looks a little silly right now, but it's just because it's just an oval. But that's okay, you're just kind of setting up where it's going to sit. Next thing we're gonna do is the teeth. We're gonna sketch those in. This is kind of a rectangle that's inside that mouth, and it's gonna come out just beyond that side of his mouth over there. Okay, that's the top teeth. And the bottom teeth are just slightly visible. They're gonna be a bit of a, kind of a semicircle, kind of a hook shape down below. As we see the tops and backs of these teeth back here, and then these ones we just see the front, just like that. Okay, now for his eyes. So I'm gonna bring those eyes onto that eye line. And I'll draw a little bit of an eyelid on that, an eyelid down below, maybe a few little wrinkles on the side, really show some of that aggression. And then the inside of the eye, I'll do as a semicircle. And then I like to show off those green eyes that he has, so I just do a pupil right in the middle. So let's do those eyebrows. So I'm gonna use that, the bottom half of that brow line that I drew. Okay, so now let's do that nose. So we're gonna start with his left nostril. So I'm gonna have it slightly angled up. So I'm using that oval, going inside of that oval, angle up, and then draw the outside of that nostril, and then use that oval again to swing all the way around and connect to our other brow line. See how I did that? So I went down from the bottom of that hook all the way around and connected to that brow line. Now for those teeth, so I'm gonna use my center line again, and I don't like to do a lot of detail on the teeth, at least for me personally. Mostly I like to do the gum line, which will recede back into his mouth, just a series of arches, and then find the bottom of that shape and just kind of angle back towards inside of his mouth. See how I did that? So some arches across the top. And then once you get in and do some details, you can suggest a little bit of spacing if you like. I try not to do too much of that. All right, now for the bottom teeth. So again, I'm gonna see partial back and tops of these. And I'm creating a little bit of a definition of what those shapes look like and going along that top ridge. I'm gonna do some details on the inside of the ear, a little bit of a nub there, and then do the inside. And if you ever, if you wanna look at maybe a friend's ear, or a brother or sister, or mom or dad, or whatever you have around the house, or you can just Google a picture of an ear, you can find the shapes that are inside the ear. Not too much detail. I really want the focus of the drawing to be on his face right here. Okay, now I'm gonna do a few little aggression lines on this brow. All right, so now we're gonna do the hair. So I treat the hair essentially as another shape. Okay, so all of the, like I said, all the aggression is coming this way. So I'm gonna do the same thing with his hair. I'm gonna bring all of his hair out this way. See how I'm just doing some scratchy lines there? Just being loose, finding shapes that I like, and I'll come in and do more details later on. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about our Hulk here. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna do a little suggestion of a tongue inside. So I'm just gonna put an oval there. And then most of this is gonna be dark. Now for the hair, you're almost gonna kind of paint the hairs in with your pencil. So I like to drag up towards where I imagine the highlights would be. So the highlights for me are gonna be coming from this side. So most of his hair is black, but anywhere there's highlights, those will be green. So I think we've done enough with the underdrawing. So I'm gonna put aside my underdrawing pencil now, and I'm gonna get out my B and start to do the detailed line work. And I'm gonna start on the right side, and I'm gonna start doing the detail on this ear. So his chin is gonna come up here, just like that. There's a little bit of a space here, a little bit of shading. Do little hatch lines. Take out my 6B, and I'm gonna color in that mouth. Get those aggression lines in there on the side of the mouth. We've got that bottom lip suggestion. See how I leave that open? Because that'll be green once I go in and paint it. Okay, now let's go ahead and do his nose. We'll just kind of bring it all the way across. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna put my B pencil down. I'm gonna go for my 6B now, and we're gonna do that hair. All right, so I'm gonna start by outlining the shape that I already created. All right, so now I've got my shape. Now we're gonna go in, and like I said before, we're gonna paint in these hairlines. Everything that's where there's white or background, your paper color showing through, that's okay, because that'll all get green when you go in and color it. So we're looking pretty good. So now I'm gonna take my 6B and I'm gonna finish that outline, really help it pop off the page. For one little extra piece of fun, little extra flavor, so to speak, we're gonna add some spittle coming out of the Hulk's mouth here. Kind of gross, but kind of fun. There you go. And there you have it. There is our drawing of the Incredible Hulk. Now you guys know, who have watched our videos before, you're never done until you sign your name. That's what makes it yours. So I'm gonna put my name right down here. I am Brian Crosby. And I hope you guys had fun learning how to draw the Incredible Hulk today. Come back and join us again and again. Look up some of our older videos and learn how to draw all the greatest Marvel superheroes from around the Marvel Universe. And as always, this is Marvel, your universe.